He was an incredible, talented guy. He was not only a great pastor in the church, he was quite an entrepreneur, quite a businessman, and he was also very much involved in helping people recover from the dreaded alcoholism. Truly a most unusual guy. And I remember when we were in the car, he leaned over and said, "You know what, Stan, I'm a lot like God in this sense. I have no problem with sin. But you know what? I really can't stand stupidity." Now that's an interesting idea. And that brings me right up today, where Donald Trump has just announced that he has canceled his January 6th press conference about what happened on January 6th last year. Why did he do that? Well, because he's not stupid. Well, I've got a couple stories to tell you. I think you'll find them interesting. And that's what this whole program is all about. It's for you. And it's called Interesting Ideas. And it begins right now. Hello once again, and welcome to the program. By the way, I'm very fortunate because most of you don't have the opportunity that I have. And that has that, I've got a lot of different ideas, and I enjoy talking about them and telling them to other people. However, I'm just located in one place. But because I have the ability to do a worldwide radio program, a podcast just like this, I get to tell literally thousands and thousands of people, perhaps maybe even millions someday, and the message will hang on. And I get to share what I hope is a little bit of wisdom, insight, and truth. That's wit, wisdom, insight, and truth. And a little bit about what it takes to be on the radio and to be successful in life and business. I get to do that. And I'm hoping that someday you will decide that you are going to join me and you are going to do exactly what I'm doing right now, having a great time talking to you and knowing that hundreds of other people are listening in to our conversation because I really am talking to you and they're just listening in. And we're going to have a great time and perhaps we'll learn something, maybe even by accident. So thank you so very, very much for giving me that opportunity. And you need to go to witradio.net, because that will show you how right now in 22 you can begin the year by knowing that by the end of the year, in fact, maybe even by the end of the month, you could be on the World Wide Web with your very own radio program to build your business, to perhaps enhance your career, perhaps just to celebrate and raise money for a good cause. There's all kinds of things you can do when you learn how to stand behind the golden microphone, have fun, and put your wisdom, insight, and truth and your interesting ideas on the radio. So check that out, witradio.net, or if you'd like to talk to me personally, just go to stanhouston@gmail.com, put that in, stanhouston@gmail.com, and tell me how I can help you have a better 22. And I believe that I can probably do that just for you. Well, let me tell you a little bit about the stories for today. As I said, he was an incredible man. He was funny, had an incredible sense of humor, but he also realized that even though he kind of had felt called to the ministry, that he would get bored just being a pastor or a preacher in a church. And so he got involved not only in that work, but he got involved in business. He loved the printing. He just was fascinated by that. So guess what he did? He started his own printing business. And then he had come to believe, due to a situation, that buying insurance is really a pretty good deal. And he had a personal story behind that. So he found a man who would put him on part-time, and so not only was he pastoring, not only was he printing, he was also pitching insurance. But then something else came into his life, and he discovered that, isn't it sad that we've got so many people whose lives are failing because of alcoholism and drugs? And he was not just going to preach about it, he was going to do something about it. So he was one of the fundamental leaders in a mission to actually help people into the true road, not only of recovery from alcoholism, but the spirit of alcoholism, and to bring them into the very Spirit of God. And that's how he said, most people who are trying to help the sick and the poor and the addicted, they're stupid. They don't know that unless the Spirit is involved in it, the victory over the spirits of alcohol will never work. And so he was very successful in helping men and women put that terrible past behind them. So think about him. There he was. He was a pastor on Sunday, and he was pitching insurance on Monday, and he was printing good stuff for businesses any day. And he was also at the place where he was helping men and women walk away from the terrible dregs of drugs and alcohol. And he was the one who actually said, you know what? Of course, sin is part of the human condition. And I have no problem with that because I know how I can help people with that. And I understand that. He says, because deep in my heart and probably in a lot of my actions, I'm a sinner too. I know it well. And so I know that God forgives sin. And so I can forgive sin too. And I do. I don't go around trying to judge people who've done sin. But then he said that wonderful line. He says, but you know what? I do have a problem with stupidity. And then he implied, well, you know what? God understands not only sin, he understands stupidity. Well, most of us are dealing with some of those issues in our life. And let's face it, sin and stupidity, sometimes they can go together, but oftentimes they don't. And as a result of that, we oftentimes have to say, is that just because they didn't know better? Is that just because they made some bad mistakes? Or could it be that perhaps, you know what? They just are stupid. They don't get it. And they continue to make bad mistakes. Or they are. Well, you can think about that idea. Perhaps you'd like to respond to that idea. Perhaps you'd like to think about you and how you can help people and how you yourself can demonstrate that you're not stupid, that you've got some wisdom, insight, and truth, and perhaps you combine that with a degree of smartness and humility, because being humble is smart, and perhaps put that out into the world and see what happens. So I would like you to think about that. And then I'm going to tell you why Donald Trump, whether you like him or not, and by the way, everybody seems has an opinion on him, and that's part of the reason he has so much power, is not stupid by what he did just today, tomorrow if you're hearing this program in advance. He canceled the January 6th celebration, commemoration, deep anger and disgust about what happened at the White House Capitol on January 6th, 2021. He was going to do a press conference about that, and then he canceled it. And why did he do that? Well, I'm going to give you a few smart ideas if you'll just stick with me. Why, the way you are in tune with interesting ideas. My name is Stan Houston, along with my partner Sherry Monahan. We can help you make your mark in business today. Just check us out at What It Takes Radio. Hey, What It Takes Radio, a podcast and publishing company, witradio.net. Donald Trump is next. Hey, and I'm back. Now, I'm not even going to tell you whether I voted for Donald Trump or not. However, when he first ran for office, I had heard about him. Most people had heard about him. So what I did is I actually, my wife and I, didn't know a great deal about him. So we actually went out and bought 4 or 5 of his books and read about him and learned a little bit about his lessons and his stories. And it's quite fascinating. And I simply said this: he is very, very smart. No question about it. He's probably fearless. For sure. He's very brave because he's bold and he's strong. And he does perhaps what he says he's going to do. And when he said, you know what, you hit me, I'll hit you back twice as hard. He actually said that. And you would be smart to go back and find out that if you read him, and I actually at that time did a series of videos on the 10 things about business that you could actually learn from Donald Trump. Now, whether you like him or not, or agree with him politically or not, doesn't matter. You can still learn from people. One of my great mentors in life, a man I never met, but his name was Stanley Jones, and he was a world-class communicator, writer, motivator, teacher, and a missionary to India. And he grew up saying this: at the age of 18, he learned a very significant lesson, and that is this: you can always learn something. Failures, mistakes, bad ideas, and even bad people. You can learn from everything. And I would encourage you to think about that idea. As I say, let it sit on your head for a while and go from there. Now, how is Trump smart? Well, first of all, he knows that right now his political opposition, particularly the Democrat Party, is in trouble. And so they're trying to deal with all of the difficulties they are having. And he's smart enough to know that if somebody is attacking you and they are themselves in difficulty, just leave them alone. Let them do their difficulty. And so he will just walk away from that. But here's what else he did. He knows that the networks that hate him and the people who hate him and the partisans who don't like him are preparing for that press conference, which he was going to do. And they have already spent a great deal of time, energy, and money getting ready to do that January 6th commemoration, and they're all ready to, hey, be there for the press conference, photograph it, videotape it, record it, and then comment on it. And they have spent a good deal of time, energy, and money on that event. They just wasted their money. It's gone. And I mean, that means millions of dollars. He just simply said, I'm not going to do that. Change my mind. I'm going to do it in Phoenix, where I know I have a lot of friends, a couple weeks later. And then he will do that after he has gone on and let them stew in their juice trying to make something of the event. Very smart. He said, you always have to know when to walk away. One of his great wisdom statements. And that's about negotiations. That's about whatever. You have to know when to walk away. And he walked away. And by the way, that's part of his strategy. Walk away. Now, here's perhaps also a part of what will happen, is that he understands that nobody who cares counts. Nobody who cares counts. Now, the people who really care about the January 6th thing don't like him. They hate him. They're against him. And in his struggles or strategies in life, why worry about people who don't really count? They're going to be against you. They're going to be opposed to you. They're not going to like you. No matter what you say or no matter what you do, it will not help you. In terms of his own plans, purposes, and goals, those people who care so much about that, they don't count. Now, that's not to say that they don't count as human beings, but in terms of his own private and public strategy, they don't matter to him. So why give time, money, and energy trying to convince people who don't count in terms of his own goals, aspirations, and success? You want to know how many people spend time trying to talk to people and do things that don't count? Do you know how many people are still writing all kinds and spending all kinds of time and energy attacking Trump? It doesn't matter. In terms of him, they don't count. Now, I want you to understand, I'm not trying to take a political position here, but my job is to help you as a business performance coach, as a life coach, even though I hate that term, because I'm about business and performance. But if you do business and performance well, you might have a better life. But let's work on the other issues first. So there we go. In effect, part of the problem is that the people who may be involved with their effort, they're probably kind of stupid. And let me point out that most of the people who are opposed to you are kind of stupid. Because there are all kinds of stupid people who don't know how to have or deal or embrace success and opportunity. As my friend said, that's the people. Those are the people I have problems with. People who make mistakes, the sinners, no problem. I'll join them. The people who are just plain stupid, I have a problem with that. I'm done for today, but I'll pitch me and pitch to you in just a moment or two. Okay, I hope that was helpful to you. But you know something? Some of you are really mad right now. And some of you are really glad right now. And that was part of my strategy. I'm not just about being involved in interesting ideas. I want to have an emotional connection. Something you'll really think about, something that'll challenge you, something that'll stir you up. It might inspire you. And it might challenge you. And some of you are just simply going to dismiss me and my ideas. I'm not stupid enough to pursue people who feel that way about me now. I have to do what I know God has called me to do and what my own personality and positions and beliefs lead me to do, because that's what matters. So you think about that. I can help you. I can help you in your life and in your business, and particularly helping you learn how to be masters of the modern media, which you have to do. So please reach out to me. Again, check out our website. You can find out how you can get involved in being your own podcaster just like me at witradio.net, witradio.net. If perhaps you'd like to have me come and speak and be and counsel as a business coach to you, your organization, and your group. And by the way, I can help you. I can help you with a lot of things. I'm not stupid, okay? And I can help all of us together be a lot smarter about how we'll look at life, business, and how we connect with what is really important. That is, what God has in store for us and how He cares for us. That's what really matters. All the best and blessings to you till next time when you perhaps are a guest on Interesting Ideas. Bye for now.